Well, one of the questions that are on our horizon today is this empire being reborn, a European superstate. And we have briefing. Each one of the topics, by the way, we have briefings on it, 2 tapes plus notes. So I'm just going to try to give you the highlights here. The New Europe. Back in 1951, they signed the Treaty of Paris, creating the European Coal and Steel Community. It was a great model. It worked well. So in 1957, they formed 2 more treaties in Rome, the EEC and the EAEC, the Atomic Energy Community. In the next year, they formed a European Parliament. Many people didn't even realize this was going on. In 1959, 3 of the 6 countries involved merged to form the Benelux group, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. In 1967, an event occurred that many people didn't notice at the time. The EEC, the European Economic Community, the Coal and Steel Community, and the Atomic Energy Community all merged. They had a commission, an executive branch that merged, and the same council same 6 nations formed the Council of Ministers. In 1973, they added Denmark, Ireland, and the UK. Now there are 9, the original 6 plus 3 more. In 1981, Greece joins. Now there were 10, and everybody got excited. Ooh, there's 10 nations. Now see, the scripture didn't say that there's going to be 10 pieces come together. There's going to be an empire, and it's going to end up having 10 major parts, but we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. 1986, Spain and Portugal joined. Now they're 12. Germany unified. Then in November, the Maastricht Treaty was signed, and that's more important than the Treaty of Rome, as I'll come to. Austria, Sweden, and Finland joined. Now they're 15. That broke the model, so people went home and got away from Daniel and think, gee, must be something else going on. Then 1999, we had the euro introduced. Now, one of the questions is to recognize the Maastricht Treaty obsoleted, eclipsed, replaced the Treaty of Rome that got so much publicity. What the Maastricht Treaty lays out for us is a centralized European superstate with a common foreign policy, a common military, a common currency, and common judiciary. And what's exciting about this, its economic potential is larger than the United States. Potential, it isn't there yet. They got a lot of overhead. They're committed to a socialistic model. It is interesting to see the emblem of the European Parliament, which is a woman riding a beast. She's got a cup in her hand, and the beast is on 7 hills. Kind of interesting for those that like to look at models and things. But don't get too excited. That's not the biblical model. That's supposed to be Europa riding Zeus, who's disguised as and he's not a scarlet beast, he's a white beast, so I wouldn't carry it too far. But we clearly are on a tide towards world government. That's part of what we're seeing. We have the whole dream is a world without borders. The end of the independent nation state. The multiculturalism is in, as we've talked a lot about that. I don't have to elaborate on this. They're driving towards a centralized socialistic government, which of course is a prelude to tyranny. Anyone that loves freedom sees all this as a gigantic threat. The independent nation state is the greatest protection of freedom. Where would the Jews have gone if there hadn't been an America? Or wherever. What are the forcing functions to make sure this happens? There are 2 at least. Nuclear proliferation. It's the only way to police a global world where everyone has the ability to wipe out everybody else. And the other cause célèbre, which will drive all this home, will be terrorism. That's obviously not a regional problem, it's a global problem. And we can see you can't win a war that you don't know who the enemy is. And they have no idea who the enemy is. All the propaganda you see notwithstanding. So New World Order issues coming. Now, while all this is going on, we also see an ecumenical religion. The scripture calls for a one world religion as well as a political leadership. And biblical Christianity throughout the world is getting increasingly politically incorrect. The Vatican is positioning for global leadership. Here we have a picture of the Pope kissing the Quran. And if you want to understand church history, we encourage you to get Dave Hunt's book, A Woman Rides the Beast, or take a look at Dave and I did a briefing package called The Kingdom of Blood that will startle you if you haven't been exposed to what really happened in the 1,000-year history in Europe.